Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James gave an awesome speech at the ESPYs, and they got pretty political. Let's watch.
We stand here tonight accepting our role in uniting communities to be the change we need to see. We stand before you as fathers, sons, husbands, brothers, uncles, and in my case, as an African-American man and the nephew of a police officer who was one of the hundreds of thousands of great officers serving this country. But Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Eric Gardner, Laquan McDonald, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile. This is also our reality. Generations ago, legends like Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, John Carlos, and Tommy Smith, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jim Brown, Billie Jean King, Arthur Ashe, and countless others. They set a model for what athletes should stand for. So we choose to follow in their footsteps.
The racial profiling has to stop. The shoot-to-kill mentality has to stop. Not seeing the value of black and brown bodies has to stop. But also the retaliation has to stop. The endless gun violence in places like Chicago, Dallas, not to mention Orlando, it has to stop. Enough. Enough is enough. Now, as athletes, it's on us to challenge each other to do even more than what we already do in our own communities. And the conversation cannot stop as our schedules get busy again. It won't always be convenient. It won't. It won't always be comfortable. But it is necessary.
We all feel helpless and frustrated by the violence. We do. But that's not acceptable. It's time to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what are we doing to create change? It's not about being a role model. It's not about our responsibilities for the tradition of activism. I know tonight we'll honor Muhammad Ali, the GOAT. But to do his legacy any justice, let's use this moment as a call to action for all professional athletes to educate ourselves, explore these issues, speak up, use our influence, and renounce all violence. And most importantly, go back to our communities, invest our time, our resources, help rebuild them, help strengthen them, help change them. We all have to do better. Thank you.
That was great. I love that. I love that for numerous reasons. But I think a very important thing that they did there was they also neutralized their potential critics. So anybody from the far right who wants to come out and say, here we go again, black people complaining with the Black Lives Matter. Well, hold on now. Did you listen to what they said? Because there were multiple parts in there where, yes, they're talking about how important it is to recognize black lives, brown lives, and let's understand that these lives are worth something, and cops are too quick on the trigger. They said a million important things in that respect. They also said, it was Chris Paul, hey, there are hundreds of thousands of good cops out there. They said the retaliation also has to stop. That's big in terms of talking about the Dallas situation. They even brought up the classic right-wing go-to, oh yeah? Well, why don't you ever talk about Chicago? There it is right there. Did you not hear it? We'll play it back if you want. You're on YouTube. Click back not that far. They said, like the violence in Chicago also has to stop, the gun violence. So this wasn't, people, they'll try to spin this as, they're tribal. Look at what they're saying. Look what they're doing. No. Every single important talking point and issue, they hit there. And they put the focus where it should be. Now, so it was great. If I was them, and far be it from me to criticize them, because this is already, they don't have to do this, but they did this. But they should have went a little further in the sense that they should have gotten really specific about solutions. Because when you say stuff, okay, this has to stop, this has blah, 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 Like, okay, we all agree, yeah, it would be great if it stopped. But how do we go about doing that? And changing minds is one thing, and making people recognize the problems, that's one thing. But then also there are policy-based solutions. So could you imagine if all these superstars came out, especially LeBron James, just how gigantic he is, a legend now in the NBA. If he came out and said, oh, by the way, here are the exact proposals I'm talking about. Call your congressman today. If he told his millions of followers, call your congressman today and bring up these things. Hey, here are the policy changes we're going for. Number one, end the drug war. At least decriminalize drugs and get the innocent people out of jail. Can you imagine if LeBron James endorsed ending the drug war? How gigantic that would be. This is why we have more people in prison than any other modern nation on the planet, because of the fucking drug war. Could you imagine if LeBron James said end the drug war? Number two, retrain police in de-escalation tactics. If LeBron James told his followers to tell their congresspeople that, and all these different congresspeople, their voicemails lit up with that. Do this or else. Do this or we'll vote you out. Number three, body cameras for all cops. In some localities, they've gone in that direction. But no, make it federal. Do it at a federal level. It's not foolproof. We know sometimes body cameras, we can catch a crime and then there's still no justice. But studies show that just the fact that they have the body camera on them, it is much more likely that the cop will not engage in risky action to begin with. So they will not go too far to begin with. It nips it in the bud. Because they go, I'm on camera. I'm not sure I even want to go in this direction and make it violent. They're more likely to de-escalate if they have the cameras. Number four, end broken windows policing. This is another dynamic that sets up an us versus them mentality, and it sets up a feeling in many communities that the police are an occupying force. So we should do that too. Number five, gun reform. Simple things, man. Simple. Universal background checks. Over 90% of the American people agree on that. Banning high-capacity magazines. A majority of the American people agree on that. Imagine LeBron James coming out saying, here are my answers. And finally, number six, we can go on and on. This is just, the tip of the iceberg here. There are a million more policies we can get into. But if LeBron just came out and said these ones, it would make such a big difference. The sixth thing is infrastructure spending to basically invest in inner cities and rebuild the country and get people jobs. People who need jobs can have jobs. They have purpose. They have drive. That would be great. That'd be amazing. It's because you have to address the fundamental causes of crime, for example. And one of those things is obviously poverty and lack of opportunity. So if LeBron James and Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony just came out and said, hey, look, here we're just brushing the surface here, but these are the 6 policies that we're talking about. Could you imagine the difference that would make? We'd be so much more likely to get it done. Now, maybe it still wouldn't get done, but I think celebrities have more power than even they realize if they get politically involved. So this was a great thing. I would have gone a little further, but still credit to them.